What's up, people? Welcome back to Daily Red Devil for all of your latest Manchester United transfer news and talk. I hope everyone is doing well on this Friday morning. I'm feeling especially positive. The weekend has come and I'm very much looking forward to it. Right, we've got an absolutely massive show for you guys this morning, but before we jump into that, please do smash a like on the video. Please do subscribe to the channel if you're new, and please do get involved in the comment section. I try and make the show as interactive as possible, so I would love to see what you guys have to say. On the show this morning, we're going to be talking about Amrabat. We've got some updates on him, which I think you are really going to like. We're also going to be talking a little bit about some of the departures from Manchester United. We've got news on Donny van de Beek. We've got an update on when Fred will leave the club. We've also got updates on Henderson, Anthony Martial, a new goalkeeper. So much to get into. So do make sure you smash a like, do subscribe, and let's jump straight on into it. Let's start off the show with some positivity, though, as I always like to do on these shows. Right. So we can now confirm that Rasmus Højlund will wear the number 17 shirt for Manchester United next season. We did already mention this a couple of days ago, and we guessed that it was going to be the number 17, but Fabrizio Romano has now confirmed that Rasmus Højlund will wear the number 17. The decision has been made. He's taken Fred's shirt. Obviously, Fred is now on the move to Fenerbahce, so it makes sense. It was the number that we were expecting it to be, but it's nice to see that it has been confirmed. And I just cannot wait to see Amrabat. Amrabat? I can't wait to see Amrabat, but I cannot wait to start seeing Højlund play for Manchester United. So that's the bit of positivity to start the day off. Really happy about that. I'm happy he's got the shirt number he wanted, and I cannot wait to start see him playing football for Manchester United. Right. I'm just going to address the elephant in the room as well. We've woken up this morning, okay? And anybody who's been living under a rock has obviously seen that Moises Caicedo is about to move to Liverpool for £110 million. Absolutely mental. Absolutely mental. And as I'm sure you can imagine, one tweet is resurfacing from 2020, where Manchester United, Ed Woodward, was on the brink of signing Moises Caicedo for €5 million, okay? And Ed Woodward rejected the deal. Honestly, like, we're never going to live that one down, are we? I'm just looking at the tweet right now from Fabrizio Romano. We were literally on the brink, a €5 million deal for Moises Caicedo, 5-year, the personal terms were agreed, and Ed Woodward pulled out of the deal. Anyway, absolutely ridiculous. And the other thing I wanted to bring into the show as well, which I just thought was funny, I like bringing in stuff like this just because just to lighten it a little bit. But Jurgen Klopp last season, right, came out and said, I don't spend like other managers, right? Since Jurgen Klopp has been at Liverpool, I'm looking at this graph now, he spent £1.2 billion in transfers. Honestly, it's so funny. And then there's also this quote surfacing from when we signed Pogba. And Jurgen Klopp said, the day that this is football, then I'm not in a job anymore. Other clubs can spend more money and collect top players. I want to do it differently. I would even do it differently if I had the money. So Klopp's an absolute fraud, really, isn't he? I know this isn't a Liverpool channel, but I just found it funny. He's just spent £110 million on one player, yet he comes out and says that he doesn't get to spend money like other clubs. Anyway, that's my rant over. I just found that a bit funny. Let's all laugh at Liverpool in the chat. Right, just quickly on other kind of relatively close to Manchester United stories. We did obviously speak about last night Harry Kane and about the potential of him coming to Manchester United on a free transfer next year. Something was going on last night and it looked like the deal had frozen. It looked like something had gone wrong, but it does now look like Harry Kane will be joining Bayern Munich. That's been confirmed this morning by Christian Falk, Fabrizio Romano. All of the top journalists have confirmed this story now. So Harry Kane will not be coming to Manchester United. He's signing for Bayern Munich on a 4-year contract. That has now been confirmed. I know quite a lot of you were a bit unsure about this transfer. I honestly thought that if we got Harry Kane, we'd win the Premier League or we'd at least compete for it. So I'm a little bit disappointed, but I'm not surprised, you know. I said from the very beginning of this transfer window, the likelihood of us signing Kane was probably about 5%. So I'm not at all surprised. They're going to pay €100 million up front plus €20 million in add-ons. Absolutely crazy money. So €120 million total package. So we now never have to speak about Harry Kane again. He's gone to Bayern Munich. Goodbye, Harry. Hope you do well there. You're not going to be coming to Manchester United. Anyway, let's focus on Manchester United now. We've got rid of all of the other kind of topical news of other clubs at the moment. Let's talk about Sofyan Amrabat, shall we? Because that's the one that I know everyone is really excited about. So we've had 2 or 3 stories come out since we spoke last night. We've had a story from Fabrizio Romano, a story from Alfredo Padula, who's of course the really good Italian journalist. And we've had another story coming out from Jack Talbot, who is a French journalist, I believe. So let's start off with this one. He says, the sale of Fred will mean the signing of Sofyan Amrabat. He goes on to say that personal terms are not an issue as he only wants Manchester United. So that's really, really positive. Obviously, Fred is going to Fenerbahce. We will speak about Fred in a minute. But ultimately, now that he's gone or is on the brink of leaving, it opens the door to Sofyan Amrabat. He's been waiting for Manchester United. I know there was this scare around Atletico Madrid, but I did try and calm everyone down about that. The newspaper that were putting out this story about Amrabat to Atletico Madrid was literally, it was gutter press. It was one newspaper in Spain who literally isn't even worth the paper it's printed on, put it that way. Another story coming in from Fabrizio Romano. He says, Manchester United's plan is clear. It remains clear. Sell Fred, agree loan deal for Donny van de Beek, which we will talk about in a minute, and then sign a new midfielder. He goes on to say that there are three priorities in the midfielder, with Sofyan Amrabat top of the list. Sofyan Amrabat is still waiting for Manchester United. So again, another very, very credible journalist confirming that now that Fred is gone, Sofyan Amrabat is the number one target. He is top of the list and he is waiting for Manchester United. So of course, that is really, really positive. And then we've got a third journalist who's come out since we spoke last night saying, Fred is now one step away from Fenerbahce. Manchester United's now top priority is Sofyan Amrabat. So I think we might get a bid over the weekend. I think we'll get this bid coming in over the weekend. And we have had a bit of clarity on what the fee will be as well, which we will talk about now. Let me know in the comment section, though, how much do you think would be a fair price for Sofyan Amrabat? What do you think would be a good deal? I think anywhere between 20 and 30 million would be a very, very good price. But we have had a bit of clarity today on what the deal will cost Manchester United. So let's talk about that really, really quickly. So right, it's coming out this morning that apparently Manchester United will pay £26 million plus add-ons for Sofyan Amrabat. It's about 30 million euros. I think it's a great bit of business. I do. £26 million. When you think that Liverpool have just spent £110 million on Caicedo, I appreciate that Caicedo is a lot younger. He's 21. Sofyan Amrabat's 26. But I think at this moment in time, for what Manchester United actually need, by way of a really, really brute midfielder who's going to be able to, go away to the Emirates, go away to the Etihad and completely dominate that midfield. I think that Amrabat is that person. So for £26 million, I have absolutely no complaints about it. And yeah, I'm not going to sit here and say that he's better than Moises Caicedo, because obviously they're different players. But for I think what we need at the moment, we need a Sofyan Amrabat more than we need a Moises Caicedo. So I'm really, really happy about this deal. So we've had a bit of a breakdown on what the deal will cost. So apparently it's 26 million plus add-ons. It'll be a 5-year contract, which has apparently already been agreed with the player. And it goes on to say that Fred and Donny van de Beek departures are key for the deal to be completed. Obviously, we will talk about Fred and we will talk about Donny in a minute, but we've now got some clarity. And the story also goes on to say, and this is the bit you will really, really like. So all of the people who have been spamming the chat saying Atletico Madrid, he's going there, it's over, and being really, really negative. The story goes on to say that Sofyan Amrabat only wanted to leave for Manchester United. There is no chance for Atletico Madrid and there is no chance for Liverpool. So hopefully that puts your mind at ease. He wants to come to Manchester United. He's waiting. We've had 4 different top tier journalists come out saying that since we spoke about 10 hours ago. So everybody just take a deep breath. Everybody calm down. Sofyan Amrabat will become a Manchester United player. We've just got to wait for all of the kind of bits of information, all of the contracts, all of that stuff to get over the line. I would say now I'm in the 95% club. I think 95% Sofyan Amrabat will become a Manchester United player. The only way in which it doesn't happen for me is if maybe the Fred deal falls through, which can happen in football. Deals sometimes fall through. Maybe he fails his medical, maybe something happens, but it's very, very slim chance. So I would say 95% Sofyan Amrabat will be our next signing. I think before Todibo, before Pavard, we will get Amrabat through the door. But let me know how you're feeling about this one. I think we're literally at that crunch moment now. So I hope everyone is feeling a little bit more at ease about this deal, because I know there's been a lot of concern. There's been a lot of worry. Yeah, let me know in the comments section as well if you actually want this player, because we've got Sean in the comments who's saying, calm down, I don't even want Amrabat. Atletico Madrid are welcome to him. I mean, I'll be honest with you, my friend. I think you're the only person in this community that has ever said that they don't want Sofyan Amrabat. Obviously, you're entitled to your opinion. That's completely fine. I always do encourage people to give their opinions, even if they are different to mine. But you are literally the only person I've seen in this chat since I've started this channel who said they don't want Sofyan Amrabat. And I'll even go as far as saying, right, we did a poll on the community section of our YouTube. So if you aren't a subscriber, go and subscribe and you can get involved in these polls. So we did a poll the other day, right? And the question was, who is your top midfield target? The options were Romeo Lavia, Moises Caicedo, Sofiane Amrabat, and Thuram from Nice. Okay, so we asked you guys the question, the community. 3,000 people voted, and 75% of you went for Sofiane Amrabat. 75%. Bear in mind that £110 million Moises Caicedo was also in there. £50 million Romeo Lavia was in there, and also Thuram. And 75% of you, over 3,000 people voted, went for Sofiane Amrabat. So obviously I appreciate maybe some people don't want him. Sean's saying I have high standards. Let me know in the comment section who you would rather have instead, my friend. Let me know, because I'm always keen to get to get other people's opinions. But for me, it's Amrabat 100%. And I said this on multiple streams. I think he's going to be our most important signing of the summer. I do. And the reason I think that is because every single time we go away to the Etihad, we go away to Anfield, etc., we get completely overrun in the midfield. You don't get overrun in the midfield if you have Casemiro, Amrabat, and someone like Bruno Fernandes. You don't. You get overrun if you have Eriksen playing, who can't tackle. Amrabat has one of the best one-on-one defensive records in Europe. So yeah, I'm really happy about this one. Obviously, if you're not, that's obviously completely fine. Sarandeep's asking about Jurgen Klopp. We'll talk about that in a minute. Do get your questions in. I'll read some out at the end of the show. I'm just going to rattle through all of the news. We've got nearly 1,200 people watching this morning, which is absolutely amazing. Big ups to everybody in this community. Please do smash a like on the video if you are just joining now. And please do subscribe to the channel. We're only 50 subscribers away from 10,500. So please go and subscribe. Let's see if we can hit that by the end of the video. Let's crack on with some more news, though. We've got lots and lots to get into on the show this morning. Right, we've got a bit of an update on Harry Maguire for you, which I'm going to bring really, really quickly. So this came out overnight. Apparently, Harry Maguire will complete his deal to West Ham over the weekend. Apparently, personal terms have now been agreed. We have got a bit of clarity on how much Manchester United are going to have to pay off Harry Maguire. Now, loads of you in the chat, since we did a video yesterday, were getting really, really upset about this, saying, why do we have to pay him off? It's a disgrace. We shouldn't have to do this. But there is no way around it. Harry Maguire is going to have to be compensated for the difference in wages he receives at Manchester United versus what he gets at West Ham. Now, I thought it was going to be somewhere around £10 million. That was my estimation, okay? But we have had clarity come out saying that apparently Manchester United will give Harry Maguire £6 million up front when he leaves the club as compensation in order for him to move to West Ham. 6 million's better than 10. At least that means if we're selling him for 30 plus add-ons, we still will get about 25, 30 million for him, right? So it's better than giving him 10 million, but I do appreciate that a lot of you will be annoyed about this. And for anybody who's wondering what the hell I'm talking about, Harry Maguire's on £190,000 per week at Manchester United, okay? And he's going to get paid 100 grand per week at West Ham. So Harry Maguire's obviously agreed to the move, but only if he gets the difference in his wages paid by Manchester United. So we give him 6 million. We go, here you go, Harry. Thank you very much. Goodbye. Harry Maguire then leaves, and he takes his 6 million. I get it. It's annoying. It's really, really frustrating, but there's no way around it. Or the only person you can blame for this is Ed Woodward. He was the one who gave out these stupid contracts. He was the one who put him on a 190 grand a week, 7-year contract. So Ed Woodward is the prat here. He's the one who's the idiot. Yeah, we just have to bite the bullet and get on with it. Otherwise, Harry Maguire stays at Manchester United. So we will get the here we go, I reckon, today from Fabrizio Romano. Obviously, we will be live as soon as we get that. But yeah, over the weekend, that's what's being reported for the Maguire deal to conclude. So by next week, we should be going in for Todibo, or we should be going in for Benjamin Pavard. We will keep you, of course, updated on both of those potential incomings as and when we get more information. Right, let's keep things moving on the show this morning, though. Let's not speak too long about Harry Maguire, because that deal for me is as good as done. He's agreed personal terms. The fee's been agreed. The only final thing now is a medical and, the pictures of him holding the shirt. So Harry Maguire is as good as gone for me. Obviously, Fred we'll talk about really, really quickly. So Fabrizio Romano has confirmed that apparently the medical has now been booked for Fred. It looks like his medical will take place over the weekend. So by the end of the weekend, we should see Fred in the Fenerbahce shirt. So he'll be gone. And as we said earlier on in the show, that then opens the door for Amrabat to come to Manchester United. The first piece of the domino has fallen. The domino effect will go straight in and we'll then go for Amrabat. So that's really, really good. Keeping on outgoings, we have got an update on Donny van de Beek for you as well. Obviously, this is another player who definitely needs to leave the club and somebody who I want to go and get first team football. So the story that's come out this morning is apparently the Donny van de Beek deal is going to be a loan. I know it's frustrating. I really, really do. We've got some breaking news as well, actually, coming in the last couple of seconds. So sorry to change the conversation, but this is breaking. So Gazzetta in Sport, which is obviously a massive, massive Italian newspaper, over 2 million followers on Twitter, they're reporting that Manchester United will now make a 30 million euros bid for Sofyan Amrabat. So it looks like the bid for Amrabat is about to go in. It says breaking news: after agreeing to sell Fred to Fenerbahce, Manchester United will now make a 30 million euros bid to Sofyan Amrabat. So it's exactly what we said on the beginning of the show. But the reason I bring it up is there's another outlet now reporting this story that this 26 million pounds, 30 million euros bid will be submitted for Sofyan Amrabat. Hopefully that will be today. That's what Gazzetta in Italy are reporting. So everybody, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you hit the notification bell, because as soon as we get the confirmation that this official bid's gone in, we will of course be live. So do get involved. We've got a super chat here from Acid Red Devil. Thank you very much for the support, my friend. Acid Red Devil says, I want Pavard to replace Maguire, versatile, creative and quick. I agree. I think Benjamin Pavard is the best option at this moment in time, but I want both Pavard and Todibo. I think we go for Todibo next summer or in January. I think Benjamin Pavard is a good signing purely because he gives us options at right back and at centre back. Wan-Bissaka and Dalot sometimes are good, sometimes aren't good. You're bringing in a World Cup winner who's won Champions Leagues, he's won 4 Bundesligas. I appreciate he's 27. I appreciate he's not as hip and as exciting as Todibo, but he is somebody very, very experienced. And he's somebody who, let's be honest, is a massive, massive upgrade on Harry Maguire. If I'd have told you at the beginning of the window, right, we could sell Harry Maguire for £30 million plus add-ons, and then bring in Benjamin Pavard and still have £5 to £10 million left over, you would have thought that I was, out of my head, wouldn't you? You would have thought I was crazy, but yeah, when you have to look at things like that, we can only improve our squad. And I do think that Benjamin Pavard is a massive improvement. So thank you very much for your contribution, Acid Red Devil. I really, really do appreciate it. Let's talk about Benjamin Pavard really, really quickly then, whilst we're on the topic of him. So in relation to the Benjamin Pavard deal, there are some reports in France and in Germany that apparently the bid has already gone in. Now, I've been trying to get some actual concrete confirmation on this. Fabrizio Romano hasn't come out with anything, so at this point I would take it with a pinch of salt. There's a story coming out from L'Equipe in France saying that apparently a 30 million euros bid for Benjamin Pavard has gone in. That's about 26 million pounds, which again I think is a good price. If you get Amrabat for 26 and Benjamin Pavard for 26, that's 52 million pounds. So ultimately you've swapped Fred and Maguire for Amrabat and Benjamin Pavard. Like, when you look at it like that, that's a great bit of business. It really, really is. I appreciate that everybody wants Todibo. We will do a poll in a minute as to who you want, but I think a lot of you do want Todibo. Todibo? Yeah, Todibo. Again, we did do a poll on the community section of our website a couple of days ago. If you do want to check out the polls, just go on our YouTube page and go on the community tab. I think you need to be subscribed. But so the question was, who do you want as Manchester United's next centre-back? We had, again, over 3,000 people voting, okay? 52% of you went for Jean-Claire Todibo, 43% of you went for Benjamin Pavard, and 5% of you went for Edmund Tapsoba from Bayern Leverkusen. So it was quite close. Yeah, as I've said to you many, many times before, I think we need both of them. I don't think we need just one of them. I think we need to get both Benjamin Pavard and Jean-Claire Todibo. Jean-Claire Todibo is the future replacement for Raphael Varane. Raphael Varane will need to go in the next 2 years. He's got 2 years left on his deal. His legs are definitely starting to go. He's obviously retired from the French international team because he can't ultimately cope with the amount of games. He can only play 1 game a week. So for me, we 100% need to get a replacement for Raphael Varane in the next couple of years. And I think Jean-Claire Todibo is that man. If it's not going to be Jean-Claire Todibo, then it needs to be Antonio Silva from Benfica for me. But yeah, I want you guys to see it as it shouldn't be one or the other. I think it should be both of them. I think we will have the money to get both of them. So yeah, we will keep you updated on that one. At the moment, there isn't any more updates on Jean-Claire Todibo. It's gone quite quiet. It mainly seems to be Benjamin Pavard, which is the one who's leading the race at the moment. There's a story coming out since we spoke last night saying that the reason for Erik ten Hag wanting Benjamin Pavard is because of his versatility. It's because he can play right back, he can play centre back, and he even has played at CDM before as well. So yeah, I think it's a good signing, but I think we need both of them. Right, let's move on to another story though. Let's move over to Anthony Martial. Now this is one that you are going to really, really like. So do brace yourselves for this, everyone. Anthony Martial, we've got a big update for you. So there's a story coming in from a journalist in Italy, I believe it is, saying that Inter Milan are now considering making a bid for Anthony Martial and Manchester United are open to selling him. That's great news. I think Inter Milan would be a great fit for Martial. I really do. Obviously, they were going for Lukaku. That fell through. They were going for Scamacca from West Ham. That's fallen through. So Inter Milan are absolutely desperate for a striker. They don't have any strikers. The only person they have is Lautaro Martinez, and they really, really need a striker. I think he would be a great fit for them. I really, really do. The money that's being kind of floated around in the media at the moment is around 10 to 15 million pounds would be enough to convince Manchester United to sell Anthony Martial. Now, I want you to let me know in the comment section, how much do you think would be a good price for Anthony Martial? Do remember that he's on about £250,000 a week, okay? So his wages are one of the highest in Manchester United squad, which is obviously ridiculous. To be paying somebody who barely even plays. Let me just have a quick look for you. Yeah, so Anthony Martial is paid £13 million per year by Manchester United, 250 grand a week. So you have to factor that in when you're, doing your calculations. I think 10 million would be fair. I think 15 million would be a great bit of business. 10 to 15 million from Inter Milan. I take that deal. Again, we probably would have to give him some sort of compensation because there is absolutely no way that Inter Milan are going to pay. They're not going to pay Anthony Martial 250 grand a week, I doubt. So we probably would have to give, some sort of compensation to what's he called, Martial, as he leaves. I'm just checking what Inter Milan's highest paid player is at the moment, just to get a bit of clarity, because it is important. You have got to factor in these things. So their highest earning player at the moment is Lautaro Martinez, and he's on 11 million euros per year. So yeah, considerably less than what Anthony Martial is getting paid. So I think 10 to 15 million pounds, I take that. We can then use that money to go and buy another striker. Maybe we go in for Kolo Muani. Maybe we go in for Jonathan David. Maybe we go in for Mohamed Kudus. I also want you to let me know in the comment section if we were to sell Anthony Martial, and then as a result of it, we would need another striker. Who would you go for? Who would be your preferred option? Let me know in the comment section. For me, I would go for Mohamed Kudus as number one priority, then Kolo Muani, then Jonathan David. Fourth option, maybe Taremi from Porto. Any of those four people I'd be really, really happy with. But I do look forward to seeing what you guys think. So do let me know in the comment section. We've got over 1,500 people watching today, guys, which is absolutely incredible. Please do smash a like on the video, and please do subscribe to the channel if you are new. We're only 20 subscribers away from 10,500. So please do go and subscribe if you haven't already, and make sure you hit the notification bell. Right. Let's just keep our fingers and toes crossed that this Anthony Martial deal happens, because if we get rid of him, Maguire, McTominay, Telles, I honestly think we could have a 10 out of 10 transfer window here. I really, really do. We're on the brink of having the best transfer window that I can remember in my life. And I'm not trying to be dramatic. I'm being very, very honest here. I honestly think that we're that close to having the best transfer window in my life. Honestly. It can happen. So I'm trying to stay positive. Thank you very much for the super chat, Lee. Lee says, hi, Kieran. Martial is a thief. Wow. I mean, I wouldn't go as far as calling him a thief, my friend, but I get your point. Again, Ed Woodward gave him that stupid contract. Ed Woodward agreed to pay him £13 million per year. You can't really blame Anthony Martial for saying, okay, I'll take the deal. It all boils back to Ed Woodward. He is the fool of the club. Right, let's crack on with some more news, though. Let's talk about Scott McTominay, because we do have a massive update for you on the Scott McTominay deal. Honestly, I know we need to stay focused on the Glazers out. And regardless of what happens in this transfer window, regardless if we win the Premier League, if we win the Champions League, the message will always be Glazers out. That is the point here. But we can still be positive. We can still say that, that we're happy with what's going on in the relation to the transfer window. So although you see me as very positive, do remember that I am 100% Glazers out, full sale only. I want them out of the club, and I'm not just completely deluded to the fact that they have destroyed our club over the last however many years. Right, anyway, let's move on though, because honestly, as soon as I start talking about the Glazers, I find my blood pressure getting so high, and it's not good for me. So I'm not going to talk about them anymore. Not this show anyway. Okay, so we've had some breaking news come out overnight saying that apparently West Ham are in deep negotiations to sign Scott McTominay. This is coming out from a journalist who literally just reports on West Ham. He doesn't talk about any other clubs. He's got 150,000 followers on Twitter. He's been really, really good around the Declan Rice, around the Maguire deal. He's pretty much broken all of the news surrounding West Ham this summer, and he is confirming that there is still negotiations going on between the two clubs. Now, our chances of selling Scott McTominay have been absolutely bolstered massively. If anybody doesn't know what bolstered means, it means like improved. So, and the reason for that is Again, this isn't somebody who's plays for Manchester United, but it does link directly to this deal. Manchester City have submitted an £88 million bid for Lucas Paqueta. £88 million, right? That's been rejected, and Manchester City are reportedly going to go back in with an improved bid of around 95 to £100 million for Lucas Paqueta. Absolutely mental. And you're probably thinking, why the hell are we talking about him? He doesn't play for Manchester United. But the relevance of this here is £88 million in the bank, £105 million for Declan Rice, £30 million for Scamacca. West Ham are going to have about £250 million to spend. And at the moment, they've only bought Maguire soon, Edson Alvarez and James Ward-Prowse. They've spent about £90 million so far. So I think the McTominay deal will happen. I think he will leave the club. I think we'll get about £40 million for him, maybe a little bit more now that, West Ham are going to get all this money from Lucas Paqueta. And I'm really, really happy about that. I am, because it did feel like that deal had gone a little bit cold. It felt like it wasn't going to happen. It felt like maybe this was going to fall through and we'd be stuck with him for another season. But if we can get this £40 million for him, I take that any day of the week. I think that would be a great bit of business. So there's that one journalist who said that, and then there's another journalist, again, who only reports on West Ham stories, and he's saying West Ham are deep in negotiations to bring Scott McTominay from Manchester United. So really, really happy about that. It does look like this deal will happen, and the deal hasn't fallen through. Let me know in the comment section, how much do you think would be a fair price for Scott McTominay? Do take in mind that they've just sold, take in mind how much money they have. All right, they're not a poor club. They'll have raised about £200 million in sales this summer. So bear that in mind. For me, we need to get at least 40 million for Scott McTominay now. They offered 30, we rejected it. We go back in and say you can have him for 40, maybe plus add-ons. I think that's a good price. And so I was talking to a friend yesterday, and they said, Kieran, what other midfielder can you get in the Premier League as good as McTominay for £40 million? Like, you can't, can you? He's played for Manchester United for how many years? Since, his whole career. He's played over 100 Premier League matches. He's played in the Champions League. Like, he's really, really good for the international team. You're not going to get a better player than McTominay for less than £40 million, I don't think. In the Premier League anyway. Obviously, Sofian Amrabat, in my opinion, is better. But yeah, in the Premier League, you're not going to get someone better. Right, let's have a look at what people are saying in the chat. People are saying 35 million, 38, 30 to 40. Yeah, I think at the beginning of this window, I would have taken 30. I would have. But when you consider that West Ham have all of this money, you have to get more than 30. We have to actually do a good bit of business here, and we have to get this one over the line for a really, really fair price. Do you know what, guys? I just want to take a minute, actually, to just say the Premier League season starts today. Like, I'm so excited about this. Later on today, Manchester City versus Burnley. I cannot wait for the Premier League season to start, and I cannot wait for the game against Wolves on Monday, and I think we're going to absolutely batter them. We will be doing a watch-along on Monday for that game, so do make sure you subscribe if you are into watch-alongs and things like that. Yeah, we'll be live on Monday for that game. Yeah, we've got 1,700 people watching today, guys, which is an absolute record for the channel. Please do subscribe if you're new, and please do smash a like on the video. And if you do want to join the members club, I've just dropped a link in the chat if anybody wants to get involved. Right. Let's keep things moving, though, on the show this morning. We've got loads more news to get on with, so let's crack on. So we've got a bit of an update on Jadon Sancho for you. There's a story coming out this morning from a journalist in the UK saying that Aston Villa are monitoring Jadon Sancho's situation. Some other Premier League sides and others abroad have also inquired about him. Mounting interest in the player could lead to a late transfer for Jadon Sancho. So it looks like Jadon Sancho could potentially leave Manchester United. I know we spoke about this quite a lot at the beginning of the window, and everybody in the chat was like, get him out of my club. I don't feel as strongly about it. I think Jadon Sancho still does have a future at Manchester United. I think he's been really, really good in pre-season. He's only 23 years of age. He's definitely someone who I can imagine leaving Manchester United and then going on to be really, really good, and us all being sat there in a couple of years thinking, why the hell do we let Jadon Sancho go? But there is another bit of news on that Jadon Sancho story coming out this morning, saying that Erik ten Hag is currently open to letting Jadon Sancho leave Manchester United as long as a realistic offer is made. He also wants assurances from Manchester United that the funds raised will then be reinvested. However, any approaches too late in the window could force him to reconsider his stance. So Erik ten Hag is happy for Jadon to leave. He clearly doesn't see him as part of the first team plans. The fact that he's trying to play him as a false nine, it kind of just shows how desperate the situation's got. The fact that he isn't going to get any game time in his correct position on the right wing, because ultimately, Erik ten Hag spent 100 million euros on Antony, and he has to make Antony work, which I appreciate. I like Antony. So I don't know. I'm not sure. My stance on Jadon Sancho has always been, if someone comes in and offers £60 million for him, I think we paid 73, didn't we? If somebody offers like £60 million for him, I think that we do the deal. I do. So yeah, we paid £73 million for Jadon Sancho. I think anything above 60 would be fine for me. Anything less than that, I think we should just keep him. I appreciate he's on absolutely crazy wages. He's on, I think, he's on £350,000 per week, Jadon Sancho. So if you did remove him from the club, you're saving 18 million a year in wages, which is obviously massive. I've just had a thought there. Let me ask you this. How about if Lucas Paqueta goes to Manchester City, maybe West Ham come in for Jadon Sancho? Now, this is just a theory. I haven't got this information from anywhere, but it just came to my head then. If they get 100 million West Ham for Lucas Paqueta, maybe they enter the race for Jadon Sancho. I mean, imagine that, a team at West Ham with Maguire, Jadon Sancho and McTominay playing in the Europa League. I think they'd be favourites to win the Europa League. Like, that is a solid bunch of signings. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see who these clubs are who come in for Jadon Sancho. Obviously, the wages are the big issue, as it is with every deal. But as I said, Aston Villa are interested, and there's a couple of other teams who have apparently inquired for Jadon Sancho's signature. Do let me know in the comment section how much you think would be a fair price for Jadon Sancho. Let me know, as I always like to see what you guys have to say on these types of topics. Right, anyway, let's crack on with some other bits of news. Where are we? We've got about 20 minutes left of the show, everybody, so do get your questions in. I will read out a couple of questions before the show ends. Somebody in the chat saying, whatever next, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer going to West Ham? I mean, I'd never say never. I would never say never. David Moyes is really, really sorting us out, isn't he? He is. Right, anyway, let's move on to something else. Let's talk about the goalkeeper position, because we have got a massive update on the goalkeeper. Now, you might have missed the video last night. We did a video about 10 o'clock on this, so I won't spend too long doing it. But apparently, Tom Heaton, the backup goalkeeper, has got a calf injury. So Tom Heaton's going to be out for around 2 to 4 weeks with an injury. You're probably thinking, Kieran, I don't really care. But the relevance of this is, this now means that it looks increasingly likely that Dean Henderson will be staying at Manchester United, at least until January. I appreciate a lot of you are going to be really, really frustrated about this. I know a lot of you feel really, really hard done by Dean Henderson. That interview he did with TalkSport really didn't put him in a good light. It really, really didn't. So the story's coming out from Samuel Luckhurst, and it says, Dean Henderson could be forced to stay at Manchester United following the injury to Tom Heaton. Tom Heaton has suffered a calf injury in training and is expected to be sidelined for a few weeks. Dean Henderson could now end up being the number 2 at Manchester United. So it looks increasingly likely that Dean Henderson will stay. You know what I'll say on this? I appreciate that everybody wants him gone, but the only offer we have on the table at the moment is a loan move to Nottingham Forest. Surely it just makes sense to keep him till January and then try and sell him in January. Like, why would we put ourselves in a weaker position to then have to pay half of his wages? We pay half of his wages, we send him out on loan, and then we don't have a goalkeeper. Like, it doesn't really make much sense to me. But let me know in the comment section what you would do with Dean Henderson. Should he stay? Should we get rid of him? There is a bit of an update, though, on apparently a new goalkeeper we are looking at. So we'll talk about that really, really quickly. This is coming out from a couple of different journalists this morning in the UK, saying that apparently Fenerbahce goalkeeper Altay Bayindir, not heard of him personally. I know we've spoken about him on the channel before, but I've never seen him play. Apparently he's considered as a prime target for Manchester United, with a £5 million deal being discussed in recent weeks. So it looks like he's the top option as the replacement. This Altay Bayindir, I've never seen him play football. If there's anybody in the chat who is Turkish or watches Turkish football, please do let us know in the comment section how good this player is. The one thing I will say, okay, is I'm a little bit confused as to why we let Matic Kovar go. Like, why have we let Matic Kovar go if we now don't have a goalkeeper? Matic Kovar's about to move to Bayern Leverkusen, for anybody who wasn't watching the shows yesterday. So our backup goalkeeper, if you like, the one who a lot of people in this chat wanted to get game time, has been sold. And now we find out that Tom Heaton's injured and Dean Henderson has to stay. Like, it's a little bit confusing. Obviously, I trust Erik ten Hag. I trust his judgment. And if he doesn't think Matic Kovar is the kind of profile of goalkeeper we need, then obviously get rid of him. But it feels like we're in a little bit of a mess now, because what happens if we start the Premier League season on Monday and Onana gets injured? I'll be honest though, I don't have a massive issue with Dean Henderson staying until January, but I know some of you in the chat are going to be absolutely fuming about this. So yeah, we've got a super chat coming in from Red Devils United. Thank you very much for the support, my friend. He says, I assume it's a he, they. I don't think Sancho will leave this late in the window. On top of Højlund and Martial being injured, we need our attacking players. I agree with you, I do. But if I said this to you, what happens if we sold Sancho for 60 million and then go and bring in Mohamed Kudus for 40 million? Let me know in the comments section, would you prefer to have Mohamed Kudus or Jadon Sancho? I do still think there are people available in the market that we can go and get at this point if Jadon Sancho leaves the club. So we'll have to keep an eye on it. We'll have to see what happens with Sancho. But as I said, if we could get £60 million for him, I would take that deal. And again, thank you very much for your super chat, Red Devils United. I really, really do appreciate the support, not the sport. Somebody in the chat said, you've never seen Altay by Inda? Unfortunately not. I don't have time to watch Turkish League football. I do not. But if anybody in the chat does watch Turkish League football, please do let us know what he is like as a player, because I simply do not. Right, now this one is a little bit of a fun one. This is coming out from Samuel Luckhurst in the Manchester Evening News, and he is reporting that apparently Manchester United are already eyeing possible targets who will have 1 year left on their contracts next summer. He goes on to say that the top targets are, for next summer, Victor Osimhen and Jeremy Frimpong. So this time next year, both of those players will only have 1 year left on their deal, and apparently Manchester United are already eyeing them up. I mean, if we got Victor Osimhen and Jeremy Frimpong, I'd be absolutely buzzing. Just to be clear, this is for next summer, not this summer. But it's kind of similar to what happened with Mason Mount. He had 1 year left on his deal. He didn't want to sign a new contract, and ultimately he's come to Manchester United. The same as Benjamin Pavard. He's got 1 year left on his deal, doesn't want to sign a new contract, etc., etc. I can see quite a lot of people in the chat saying, isn't Martial injured? Just to be very, very clear, Anthony Martial is now back to full fitness. He is participating in proper training. So, yeah. If we're going to sell Anthony Martial, this is the moment to do it before the season starts and he probably gets injured again. Obviously, I hope he doesn't, but he seems to just have such a bad injury record, doesn't he? That every time he comes on the pitch, he seems to get injured. We've got 1,700 people watching now, which is the record for the channel. So big ups to everybody who is joining us this morning. Please do smash a like on the video and subscribe if you are new to the channel. We go live every single day at 8 a.m. and 6 p.m. UK time. And we do videos throughout the day if there's any breaking news. So please do subscribe and hit the notification bell. We've got about 20 minutes left of the show, and I will read out a couple of questions before the show ends. So if you do want to get a question in, put the letter Q in front of your message. There's loads of people in the chat saying that the Harry Kane deal has been cancelled. I'm not sure about that. Let me just have a look. Let me have a quick look on this, guys. Give me 1 sec. No, I don't think so. Oh. So Fabrizio Romano saying there is a final poker game of the Kane saga. Harry Kane and his camp are at the airport ready to fly to Munich. Tottenham are now asking to change the deal. Kane just waiting to fly once Spurs approve. So apparently Daniel Levy, Harry Kane and his family, bless him, are at London Airport, about to board the plane to Munich, and apparently Tottenham are now asking to change the deal. That's what Fabrizio's reporting. Oh my God, Daniel Levy is the biggest joker in football, isn't he? Like, fair play to him. He's just here to troll people. He is, isn't he? So yeah, he says Tottenham are now asking to change the deal. I don't know. Who knows? I'm not sure what will happen with that one. Obviously, I will keep you updated. Yeah, he's not going to come to Manchester United though, so there's not really too much point talking about him. Apparently, so we have got some clarity on it. I'll bring it really, really quickly. So apparently Daniel Levy now wants £110 million for Harry Kane. Harry Kane sat at the airport about to board his plane to Munich. The deal's been agreed. He's about to get on the plane, and apparently Levy's called Bayern Munich and said, you can have him, but we want £110 million now. He's just added, I think, an extra £10 million onto the price. Honestly, that man, he is an absolute joker. Fair play to him, though. Like, he's doing a much better job than we're doing at Manchester United. You know, if you had Daniel Levy at the club, you'd probably be selling Sancho for 100 million. You know, we'd be getting 60 million for Maguire. Yeah, I know the Tottenham fans don't like him for whatever reason, but from the business perspective, Daniel Levy does a very good job at Manchester United. At Manchester United, at Tottenham, he does. Yeah, I mean, that's absolutely mental, isn't it? So, yeah, I don't think the deal's off at this point, guys. I don't think it's off, but he's just absolutely messed over Bayern Munich, you know, because they're not going to now turn around and say no. He's just got another 10 million out of them. Do you know what is good about this deal, though? Just before we move on, we play Tottenham. I think it's next week. Let me have a look. Let me just double check. We're going to play Tottenham before they have a striker. I guess it'll be Richarlison who will be their striker, but I feel way more confident going away to Tottenham. Yeah, next Saturday, a week tomorrow, we play Tottenham at Tottenham. I feel way more confident playing Tottenham without Harry Kane than I do with Harry Kane. So it is a bit of a positive in that sense. I think we will beat them now, whereas I was a little bit concerned about that game. I thought we might lose it, but I think we'll absolutely batter Tottenham without Harry Kane. I'll probably be sat here in a week's time and I'll look like a complete idiot, won't I, when we lose to Tottenham and everyone's crying. But yeah, I'm trying to stay positive. I do think we will get... Let's have a look. Everybody asking about Harry Kane. We literally just spoke about him just then. I'm not going to talk about him again. Yeah, anybody who's joined late, I will summarise everything at the end of the video as well. Right, let's talk about Eric Bailly really, really quickly. Another player who is on the brink of leaving. So Eric Bailly is set to leave the club. It looks like it will be a free transfer. With a free transfer, though, it looks like he's going to go to Besiktas in Turkey as a free transfer. He's on £80,000 a week. We're paying him about $5 million a year in wages. I think we just let him go at this point. He's 30 years of age. He's injury prone. He's never going to play for Manchester United again. I know some of you would like a little bit of money for him, but I think, yeah, it's the right decision. Clear the wages and move on. We've got another super chat coming in from Tiborg. Thank you very much for all of your support, my friend. Tiborg says, this transfer window could easily turn out to be a 9 out of 10. Getting rid of Deadwood was a must, and it is happening. I 100% agree with you. I do. I even said I reckon it could be a 10 out of 10. I think we could genuinely have a 10 out of 10 window here. If Maguire goes, McTominay, Telles, Bailly, obviously Elanga's gone. Like, we're on the brink of having, in my opinion, the best transfer window we've ever had in my lifetime. And I genuinely believe that, I do. But yeah, let me know at the moment how you're feeling about everything. And again, massive thank you to Tiborg. Little fun fact for you, Tiborg was actually the very first Daily Red Devils member on this community. So big ups to Tiborg. Thank you again for all of your support, my friend. I really, really do appreciate it. Somebody says, who will Spurs buy with all of that money? I mean, maybe Spurs come in for Jadon Sancho. Spurs have been heavily linked with Jadon Sancho all summer. Daniel Levy wanted to bring him to Tottenham. Obviously, Jadon's from London originally, isn't he? Maybe they then come in for... maybe they then come in for Jadon Sancho. I mean, if that happens, I'll be so happy. I think it would be a good move for Jadon to go to London as well. West Ham or Tottenham would be a really, really good move for him. Somebody in the chat is saying, what about Mbappe to Spurs? I don't think that's going to happen. I don't. Mbappe's not going to go to Spurs. No. People talking about a second striker. I think at the moment, until Martial goes, if Martial goes, we'll obviously 100% sign another striker. But at the moment, I think Manchester United are kind of waiting to see what happens. Obviously, the priority is Sofian Amrabat, who we've spoken about. Then the priority will be a replacement for Harry Maguire. Obviously, if McTominay then goes, we'll need to buy another midfielder. If Martial goes, we'll need to buy another striker. So there could be a real flurry of movement in the next kind of 2 to 3 weeks. And I do expect to see another 3 or 4 people come into Manchester United based on the players who will be leaving, because all of these people who are going, McTominay needs replacing, Martial will need replacing, obviously Maguire needs replacing, Fred and Donny, I think you need 1 replacement for those 2. So like we need 3 or 4 more signings. And obviously we need another goalkeeper because we've just sold Matis Kovar, Tom Heaton's injured, and we don't have any other goalkeepers. So I think 3, maybe 4 signings minimum. But I do want to open this up to the community. I want you guys to let me know in the comments section, how many more signings do Manchester United need this summer? I want you to let me know which signings we are, which players and all the rest of it. Let me know what your priority positions are, as I always love to see you guys' opinions on these topics. Let's have a look. People are asking about Mason Greenwood in the chat. There's no update on Mason Greenwood at the moment. We are expecting an announcement before the game against Wolves on Monday. My hunch is that we'll get a bit of news by Monday. Okay, so there is some breaking news about Mason Greenwood, actually. So The Athletic are reporting. It's funny, isn't it? Sometimes you get asked these questions and I say there's no news. And I look on Twitter and literally 30 seconds ago, I couldn't even make this up, 30 seconds ago, The Athletic have just put out the story. The Athletic are reporting on Mason Greenwood that in the scenario that Mason Greenwood stays at Manchester United, United have discussed a phased process that would include encouraging the player to receive counselling, as well as a television interview in which he is challenged on the events that have happened. So it looks like he's coming back. It does. When that will be, but he'll be asked about what's happened and he'll be able to give his kind of, not opinion, but hopefully, speak about it and all the rest of it. And then there's another story coming out about him saying that the Mason Greenwood announcement is it's supposedly going to be before the Wolves game, apparently on Friday night, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, it looks like it'll be tomorrow. Today. And from what the Athletic are reporting this morning, it looks like they're expecting him to come back to Manchester United, but he'll have to do counselling. Okay, there's some more breaking news as well, actually. More breaking news on Mason Greenwood. This is going to upset some of you. You know my stance on Mason Greenwood, but apparently the Athletic are reporting that Manchester United fans plan to protest against Mason Greenwood before the first home game. It goes on to say that a group of Manchester United supporters are planning a series of protests to make it clear that they do not want Mason Greenwood to be back at Manchester United. The protesters are all regular Old Trafford matchgoers, intend to make their feelings clear outside the stadium before United's game, the first game of the season against Wolves on Monday. It says a banner has been made in United's colours with the message, "Female fans demand no Greenwood return, end violence against women." So I said this to you many times, and a lot of you have said, I don't agree, or shut up, and some people who are abusive about it, but the divide has already started. And this is why I don't want Mason Greenwood back at Manchester United. I'm putting all of my personal feelings towards him aside, but purely from a footballing perspective, it's going to divide the fan base even more. He hasn't even been announced as coming back, right? And we've already got this story from The Athletic where there's a protest already going to happen on the game on Monday, saying that they don't want Mason Greenwood. And I know people are going to chat and say, oh, I don't care, ignore them. But what I'm trying to get across to you here is we need to be united as a fan base, okay? We need to be one fan base together, because the way that the Glazers have got away with running us for the last 18 years is by operating a conquer and divide model. So they divide the fan base, they split the fan base. We're all arguing amongst ourselves about whether Mason Greenwood should be here or not, and they just are sneakily in the background taking dividends. And this is the first example of disagreement. You know, there's going to be some people in the chat saying, I don't care, I want him back, let them protest. Yeah, somebody says, let them protest, I don't care. Do you see what I mean? Like, you're exactly proving my point. So this is what they've said. They said it's time for the club to stand up and make the right decision. It's time to say we have high standards at Manchester United about how we expect players to conduct themselves. And if you do not meet those standards, you need to be moved out. It goes on to say this is a tipping point for the club. Are they going to side with commercialism and trophies and money? Or are they going to take the side of match-going fans? I mean, I don't like that. I really don't like that. I don't like it when they use the match-going fans term. I just think that's poor, because if Manchester United didn't have its worldwide fan base, then Manchester United wouldn't be the club it is. So they've already lost my respect there a little bit. They go on to say, and the club being a social and community institution that we can be proud of and proud to have as part of Manchester United's history. So there's this group who are very, very anti Mason Greenwood, clearly. I don't like the fact that they've kind of aligned themselves as match-going fans, and ultimately they're saying that anybody who isn't a match-going fan doesn't have an opinion. That's what they're kind of getting across at, which I don't agree with. I think that's very incorrect, because, you know, without all of these people in the chat today, all of you from all over the world who watch Manchester United every single week, you buy the shirts, you all the rest of it, like, Manchester United would not be the club it is. So, yeah. We'll have to wait and see what happens, but I still think he'll come back, and I don't think that this one protest will make any difference, because, you know, we've had tens of thousands of people protesting against the Glazers, nothing happened. So how will a small group of protesters make any difference? Manchester United will make the decision. The Glazers will make the decision. If they want him to come back, he'll come back. I think he'll come back. But as I've said to you many times before, this is going to divide the fan base, and it's going to only end in tears. But that's my opinion. If you disagree, obviously, please let me know in the comments section. Obviously, be respectful about your opinions, because, yeah, that's what we're here for. We're here for a place where we can all have an opinion and we can, you know, disagree. But, yeah. Yeah, I don't know what to think about that one. Right, I think this is a good place to wrap up the video, though, because obviously, let me just double check if there's anything else we wanted to talk about on the show this morning. Give me 1 second, everybody. So I'll run through everything really quickly. I'll do a quick summarise for all of you who joined late. So Fred is going to have his medical either today or tomorrow, and once Fred goes, Manchester United will submit a €30 million, £26 million bid for Sofian Amrabat. So that one looks like it will happen. Donny van der Beek is on the brink of moving to Real Sociedad on loan. Dean Henderson looks like he'll be staying at Manchester United because Tom Heaton is injured. Harry Maguire's having his medical this weekend. Inter Milan have apparently inquired about Anthony Martial. Manchester United are eyeing up Fenerbahce goalkeeper, what's his name? Altay Bayindir as a new goalkeeper. McTominay still looks like he's going to move to West Ham. They're in concrete negotiations there. And that's kind of everything we've gone through. I hope you've enjoyed the show this morning. Thank you so much to everyone who's joined us. Please do make sure you smash a like on the video as you leave, and please do subscribe to the channel if you are new. This has been Daily Red Devil. I've been Kieran, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Lots of love. Have a great day, everybody. I'll catch you guys later. Peace out.